Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about this interesting story that I saw regarding Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan's new documentary is coming out. I can't remember what it's called, but I know that that they're claiming that you're going to see a side of Jordan that you've never seen before. But they're doing all this stuff obviously to promote the documentary. But I really, one thing that really got my attention was when they mentioned that Jordan, that not only were you going to see a side of him that you have never seen, but that they claimed that the documentary, that Michael was worried that the documentary will make him kind of look like a jerk, just look like a mean guy and a really horrible person. I don't know if anybody else saw that. Let me know if you saw that story or not. And because I think that there's some stuff to unpack here about not just Michael Jordan. It isn't just about Jordan. It's really about not just his legacy, but also about life and business and success and just things like that. So anyway, I want to say hello to everybody on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So if you haven't followed on Instagram, please do that. Or in whatever channel you're watching this video on, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you share this video. Share it to as many people as you can. This is the platform for intelligent black people. So if you're not black and intelligent, then this is not the place for you. So so here's the deal. All right, so Michael Jordan's got this documentary coming out. And it looks pretty interesting. I'm going to check it out. Alicia told me about it last night. She wakes up in the middle of the night sometimes and just starts chit-chatting like a little bird, and doesn't matter how asleep I was. I got to be fully attentive to whatever conversation she wants to have at 3 o'clock in the morning. So she was well, that's what happens when you marry a smart black woman. She's a college professor, so she's got a very active brain. And anyway, so she was telling me about this documentary, and one of the things that that we're excited about is that she and I both are Chicagoites, and basically, we both saw the Jordan era all through the 90s. Jordan, if you recall back at that time, it was pretty astonishing to watch Michael Jordan because it just seemed like whenever they stepped on the court, they always won. There wasn't a chance that the Bulls were going to get beat. And I've seen a few sports franchises that were that excellent, but not many. I would say the Dallas Cowboys were like that in the 90s, early to mid 90s, maybe from 91 to about 94. A sports fan would know what I'm talking about. The New England Patriots, you got to give them props. I know they're a bunch of white guys that seem to support Donald Trump and all that, but they run an excellent organization. I can't think of too many other examples of teams that just where all they did was win. I think Kobe and Shaq had that a little bit until they started fighting, and I think that's actually a great business lesson as well. That handling failure is one thing. Being able to process failure properly in order to continue to keep going, that is one important skill. That's an important art. But you also have to be able to process success. You got to know, the people, in terms of the people that you're working with, how do they handle success? A lot of times with success brings arrogance. Success can bring people that, suddenly, for some reason, they suddenly believe miraculously that they can do it all by themselves, and that they did it all by themselves, and that nobody ever helped them. And so you can have challenges, but when you're faced with either success or failure. Now, Patriots' whole defense is black. That is true. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing it up, InstaDev. You are 100% correct. They give Tom Brady and Bill Belichick all the credit for the Patriots' success. But if you watch that last Super Bowl they won, where the score was like 13-10, you can't win a Super Bowl scoring 13 points unless you got an amazing defense. So it was their defense actually, which is full of brothers, that caused the Patriots to be able to win that Super Bowl. I don't make that 100% clear. And now those of y'all who want to dog me because I watch football, I'm sorry. I can't apologize for that. I'm a football fan. I did the boycott for a little bit, but after a while, I'm not going to boycott so Colin Kaepernick can get a bigger paycheck. That doesn't. I'll boycott for something relevant, but and I've always said that black men should have their own sports league. If white boys can do it, then you can do it too. So anyway, let me lay out some quick thoughts on the Jordan thing. Now, I've heard a lot of stories about Michael Jordan. You know, I've seen the public stuff, and I've also heard some private stories that maybe the public doesn't get to hear. And a lot of those stories were very bad. I'm just going to be honest with you. Michael Jordan, he's never come off to me as a person where I said, man, I would love to meet that guy. Because every story I heard about him was bad. Every person I knew that met him personally was like, oh yeah, he's a prick. He does it, and I was like, damn, whoa, she's really? And now here's what's interesting. I happen to become friends with the guys that run the Jordan brand, the company. The president, Larry Miller, and another guy, a couple other guys over there. H. Howard. I think they call him H. But these were really great guys. I mean, they're very black. They're not just fake black. They're really black, and they would read the stuff. They would read the articles that I used to write, stuff like that. And we became really cool. And I really like those guys. I genuinely like the people that are with the Jordan brand company. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had a hard time reconciling. I said, with Jordan being such a jerk, how does he have such nice people working with him? Like, how does that work? I've always been curious how those conversations play out. I gotta ask him about that, because I know that they see what everybody else is seeing. They're not stupid people. I saw, when he, I would sort of watch his body language and see him barking at his teammates, which some call that leadership, some call that just being a prick. You can lead without being a prick. And then I saw. Did anybody else give me a yes or no if you saw that horrible Hall of Fame speech Michael Jordan gave? Did you see that Hall of Fame speech? It was probably, honestly, the worst Hall of Fame speech ever given in history. He should be in the Hall of Fame for how bad his Hall of Fame speech was. Like, if they had a Hall of Fame for horrible Hall of Fame speeches, he would be like in the Hall of Fame. He would be like an honorary member of that Hall of Fame. He'd be like an all-star when it comes to terrible speeches, because he just literally used that speech as an opportunity to kick everyone in the head who ever tried to slow him down and stop him. Anybody who ever got in his way, anybody who ever crossed him, anybody who ever pissed him off, he was settling scores in that speech. And I'm like, this is about the most, what's the word? Undistinguished? Yeah, this is you're not behaving like a distinguished champion right now. You're behaving like a petty little bitch. I was watching it like, you say he sounded like Donald Trump. You see when Donald Trump gets on Twitter and starts beefing with people and saying like, I'm president now, ha ha ha, you ain't shit. You're like, dude, you're president, like you won. Like, there's supposed to be a certain type of class that you show. When you win, like you kick somebody, you hate them, your rivals, like, oh, I'm gonna get you, you go to war, and then you win, and then since you've got the trophy, you take a moment and you empathize with your opponent. You say, you know what, you were a great, you were a great competitor. It was awesome. Like, you ever see boxers? I've always been impressed with boxers. Like, I remember watching Mike Tyson just literally mutilate some dude, like not whooped his ass in like 45 seconds, and the guy's like, but before the fight, it was all hate. It was like, I'm gonna get you, you ain't tripping. And then after the fight, Tyson's like, he's a great competitor, and he went over and gave him a hug and put his arm around him, and and I said, that's really classy, that's really cool, because you just whooped his ass. Now you ain't gotta whoop his ass with your words too. You already proved that you're the champion, right? So I felt that Michael Jordan, a guy who literally whooped the ass of every other player in the NBA. I mean, dominated the other guys. I mean, he was the destroyer of worlds. He destroyed legacy after legacy. Charles Barkley can never say he had a championship ring because of Michael Jordan. Gary Payton never got a ring because of Michael Jordan. Karl Malone never got a ring because of Michael Jordan. Patrick Ewing never got a ring because of Michael Jordan. The list goes on and on and on of how many great all-stars never got a chance to say, I was an NBA champion, because Michael Jordan got in the way, right? That's pretty remarkable. It's impressive, but disturbing at the same time. Did Gary Payton get a ring? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got to go look at the record. So maybe Gary did get a ring. My apologies if I got that wrong. But you know what I'm saying. See, y'all just being petty. Stop that. Oh, through the Lakers. That's right. The Lakers, I didn't know the Lakers. I thought the Lakers didn't win. Yeah, they didn't. He didn't get it. It's Reggie, stop it. You see, or who was it? See, Gary Payton did not get a ring. I can see now. You got me questioning myself. See, stop that. So anyway, we'll do all that later. We'll settle all this later. My point the point here is to say that Michael Jordan didn't just win a championship. Michael Jordan won all the championships. Like he which is something. I mean, that is a type of excellence. If you're a person that believes in excellence, how many of you believe in black excellence? How many of y'all really want to know what black excellence looks like? Give me a yes or no. How many of you believe in the concept black excellence and really want to know what it means? You know that song, I want to know what love is. How many of you really want to know what black excellence is? And just say yes in the chat. If you're a person who really wants to know what black excellence is, go study the life of Michael Jordan, because that was excellence in a nutshell. Here you had a guy who, in the 80s, they used to write articles with titles like, will Michael Jordan ever be able to win a championship? Well, Michael Jordan, because he was, he couldn't, I think he couldn't shoot well enough. He wasn't strong enough. His defense wasn't good enough. Like, they had a long list of reasons. They had a long list of reasons why Michael Jordan probably wasn't ever going to win a ring. And every time there was an obstacle, he overcame the obstacle. That's pretty damn remarkable. That's pretty damn impressive. That's why I read Michael Jordan's book back in 1993-94, when I just started grad school, because I wanted to know what excellence looked like, and I just felt like Michael Jordan as an athlete was an embodiment of excellence. Now, the problem with that, though, the darker side of that, is that with tremendous achievement comes tremendous sacrifice, almost to the point of the sacrifice seeming unhealthy. Jordan made a lot of sacrifices that were incredibly disturbing. I think his wife hates his guts. His kids don't seem to like him that much. He seemed to be a pretty one-dimensional kind of guy. And I'd be curious to know if he felt that all those trade-offs were really worth it. I really wonder how he feels about that. I can't speak for him. I can only say that I don't know if I'd want to make all those trade-offs, but he did. The other thing that's interesting about Michael Jordan is that it seemed to me that if he doesn't have a good therapist, he needs one, because a lot of his ambition appeared to be driven by an emotional deficit. Like, if you remember in his Hall of Fame speech, one of the things he did that really solidified his status as the prick of the century was he went out, back in the 8th grade, he got cut from the 8th grade basketball team. And for his Hall of Fame speech, the person he asked to be flown in to present his award was the guy that took his spot on the 8th grade basketball team. Anybody remember that? Anybody? I mean, that just talk about a prick. Like, why would you do that? Like, that's just the pettiest shit you could ever do. And I feel like Jordan had just like this anger at the world, like this sort of anger. Maybe he was angry at black women. Maybe he was angry at at taller dudes. Maybe he was angry at people for saying he was too dark. Maybe he was angry because they cut him from the basketball team. But it seemed like a lot of his drive to be successful was driven by almost like an internal pain that says, I'm going to prove to the world that I am somebody, because deep down I don't believe that I am shit. I don't believe I'm somebody. So I'm going to make the world believe that I'm somebody, so that even when the world starts to believe you are somebody, you still don't believe it. So you still keep feeling that you have to keep proving it, when really you're trying to prove it to yourself. Again, I'm not a therapist on this. I'm marrying a therapist, so I'm going to ask her what she thinks about that, because I think it is interesting to kind of check that out. Now, here's a thought about the ambition piece, with the Jordan documentary coming out. I'm going to watch it right away, and I'm going to actually give you guys my take on it. Here's what I think you can definitely learn from Michael Jordan about excellence, which I think he's a great prototype for what it means to be really good at what you do. First of all, when you try to be successful, you are going to piss some people off. If you're really ambitious, if you're laser focused and you know what you want and you're going hard and you're going for the big piece of chicken, you're going to step on toes in order to get there because there's a lot of people that are going to want that piece of chicken. You're also going to piss off a lot of your friends who are only comfortable when you're as mediocre as they are. Does anybody have any friends that seem to cheer when you fail? They're happier when you fail than when you succeed. You succeed, they get mad, but when you fail, they're like there for you when you fail. But when you succeed, they don't want they're pissed off or they're talking shit about you behind your back. Well, that's because mediocrity loves company. A lot of people are more comfortable if you are miserable like them, if you are failing like them, if you are struggling like them, if you sit around and complain like them. So when you're an ambitious person, you're automatically going to end up losing friends just because you're always going above and beyond, which is reminding other people about the fact that they haven't made any progress. Every time you come back and you got a new trophy or a new level of success, you're going to have those so-called good friends of yours who are not going to seem too happy to see you successful. Number two, when you become successful, you're going to have to cut a lot of people off. That's the hardest part of ambition and success. You're going to have to cut people off because what happens is that you got somebody that can operate with you when you're at level 2 and you're trying to go to level 6 and they're still hollering, they're still hanging out on level 2. And you're like, man, I got to cut you off because I'm trying to climb the mountain and you're like pulling my leg, like you're pulling me down. I've got to cut the rope. And so of course, the problem is that level of ambition is not consistent with the values that we claim to subscribe to as human beings. We're told that you're supposed to care about everybody, you're supposed to be down for everybody, you're supposed to be loyal to everybody. And unfortunately, there are situations where you say, look, the loyalty that I claim to have for you, that I want to have for you, is too costly for me right now because, look, I got a college scholarship and you're trying to get me sent to jail. You know what I mean? Or I'm trying to go out here and make $1 million and you're trying to keep me broke. You're trying to, I'm trying to invest my time into doing something special and you're trying to get me to waste my time at the club. I can't waste time at the club and still be the best tennis player on earth or whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So you end up having to cut people off and it hurts. It hurts you to have to do it and it hurts them. And that's why at the end of the day, it doesn't surprise me at all if Michael Jordan has a long string of people who basically are calling him a complete bastard because he was so committed to getting to the next level. Like Jordan is a kind of like, think about this. If you look at just in sports analogies, you had players like say Tracy McGrady or Dwight Howard, who could have been extraordinary athletes, in my opinion, could have been amazing players, but they didn't have that extra like relentless hunger to achieve that a Kobe had or that a Jordan had. So when you go out and you do your best and it doesn't work out, you got some people that say, well, we did our best. We'll try again next time. It sucks that we lost, but man, well, we did what we could do. But then you have the people that say, no. We're going to sit here and we're going to keep talking until we figure out what we did wrong. We're going to keep going back to the drawing board until we get it right. We're going to keep trying to overcome our weaknesses until we figure out a way to be successful. If you look at Jordan's life as an athlete, every stage of his career, I follow basketball pretty closely, closer than a lot of people. And I watched him just evolve. Every year he came back, he was a different player because he kept pushing his limits. Seriously, he wasn't the same player in 1985 that he was in 1990. He wasn't the same player in 1990 that he was in 1995. Every notch, Jordan would always identify his weaknesses, and he would work on his weaknesses until they became his greatest strengths. And that is why Jordan was able to win 6 championships instead of 1. That's why every time he got to the title series, they never ever lost. Right? So I think that there's something to learn there. I think that if you are an ambitious person and you have big goals and big dreams, just be prepared for the fact that it's very difficult to be highly successful and not have somebody think you're a bastard. Somebody's going to think you ain't shit because you had to cut them off, you had to get rid of them, you had to cut the toxic people out of your life. But that is a requirement for you to be successful. A lot of people don't go very far because they're hanging on to loyalties to people that are not loyal to their goals, that are not there to be assets to their achievement. They're actually becoming liabilities. And so you call yourself trying to keep it real, and I'm gonna stick it out and hang out with my homie, even though your homie's gonna mess everything up and derail everything. Well, then it's okay to think that way. I mean, if that's the price you're willing to pay, but just know that you can't sort of be here and be here at the same time. It's very difficult to do that. that. So that's why you'll see a lot of really ambitious, super ambitious, successful people like a Michael Jordan or a Tiger Woods or whatever, or Serena Williams, who have people that say, she ain't shit, or she's a jerk, or she act like she loyal to people, but she ain't really loyal to people. Well, that's because somebody like a Serena Williams, she's not going to be able to be but so loyal to you because she's already loyal to something else. She's already married to her dream and married to her goal. So every day she gets up, that spouse that she chose, the marriage that she chose through sickness and health, for rich or for poor, till death does her part, that spouse is going to get her first loyalty. You're going to be second on the list. So if you're an ambitious person, just kind of know that there's a point where you're going to have to kind of marry your goal and marry your dream, and you're going to have some disappointed people because you can't be married to two or three things at once. You can't serve multiple masters, so to speak, at the same time. So I can just say that's I'm not going to say I'm a Michael Jordan. I don't even do that weird comparison. But I will say that in my life, one of the things I learned very early, I accomplished a few things. I did some things that that none of my friends accomplished. And along the way, there were times where everybody was going left and I had to go right. Everybody was going this way and I went that way. Or somebody was pulling me in that direction and I said, I'm sorry, I got to cut the cord. And next thing you know, they're screaming and hollering, Boyce ain't shit, Boyce ain't this, Boyce ain't that. Well, no, Boyce just realized that you're becoming toxic to the objective, and you got to go. Like I can't have you around because you're gonna destroy everything that we're trying to build here. So that's what I see when I hear the Michael Jordan stories. I don't think it excuses Michael. I think that there's a grace in success that he seems to be missing. Maybe he's gained that, in his old age. But I think when he was younger, when he gave that Hall of Fame speech, I think if I were his therapist, that's the time where I say, look, Michael, you won. Like, you're the winner. You beat all these people. There's no point, and you've already made your point. You made your point. Everybody in here knows that you're arguably the greatest basketball player in the history of all time. In fact, when they did a vote, they voted him above Wilt Chamberlain, so I'd say he's number one of all time. So now what you do is, you want to heal those wounds that were probably caused, by the people that you had to cut off and destroy on your pathway to the top. I don't think Michael got that speech. I think Michael was still trying to prove something. He was kicking a dead horse when he gave that Hall of Fame speech where he's further humiliating people who already felt bad enough because you caused them to go through their whole career and never get an NBA championship. So that's my analysis on Jordan. I think that but overall, I think there's a lot you can learn from the guy. It doesn't surprise me that he was a terrible manager with the Washington Wizards, that the Wizards never did anything. I think that there's a difference between being great at what you do and being great at teaching others how to do what you do. I think teaching requires patience. It requires the fact that you must do something I don't know if Michael Jordan's able to do, which is you must forgive people for not being as talented as you, forgive people for not being as ambitious as you, and forgive people for not being as capable and as driven as you and as focused as you. I don't think Jordan was able to do that. So I think that's why Jordan didn't work out well with the Wizards, because he's still operating with a certain standard of expectation, a certain standard of excellence that the Wizards were not able to fulfill. So personally, I think if a guy like Jordan, If I were Jordan and I was coaching people, I would ask them before they walk through the door. I would qualify them and say, look, you do understand that I'm going to pull things out of you that you don't even know are there. You do understand that you're going to hate me as we go through this process. You do understand that this is going to be brutal and painful because winning ain't comfortable. Winning means not being at all ever complacent with where you are. Winning means always pulling yourself out of your comfort zone. Are you okay with that? And if people convinced me that they were okay with that, then I would bring them in. They'd have to show me. They couldn't just say it. A lot of people say it. Everybody say they want to be a champion until they see what the price is. Everybody says they want to be a winner until they really know what the true cost is. Seriously, that's why if you ask 100 people, do you want to be successful? They'll be like, yeah. But only one out of that 100 people are really ready to pay the price. So if you are a person in here that really wants to be great at what you do, if you want to be good at something or extraordinary at something or the best in the world at something, I want you to imagine the highest price you could possibly pay to achieve that goal. And then I want you to add about another 30% to that. That's the price you're going to have to pay. Literally, most people I know who are successful at something at a Michael Jordan type level, who are super successful, like the best in the world or something, the price they had to pay was not only bigger than anything they ever thought they'd have to pay, but it's so big that by the time they get the big win, they're wondering if it was even worth it. They're literally saying, man, I gave up a lot in order to get here. I don't even know if it was worth it. So I'm going to just tell you, I believe it. While everybody walks around saying, oh, I'd love to be a Michael Jordan. I'd love to be a Michael Jordan. I don't think you're really about that life. I don't think you'd want to be Michael Jordan. I don't think you could. You probably, I bet most people, not only could they not handle making the sacrifices necessary to become a Michael Jordan, they probably couldn't even handle what it feels like to be Michael Jordan right now. You got $1 billion in the bank, but you got to look back on a life where you have hurt people, you have had to abandon people, you've disappointed people, you've missed out on things, you've pushed yourself to the point of complete exhaustion, you've gone beyond the point of no return. Maybe you've had to do some things that make you feel a little bit guilty. Most people can't live with that. I think that's why a lot of those people that become really successful, you'll see them, depressed or suicidal or drinking a lot or using drugs or whatever, because they're reflecting on, my God, the price I paid was just a little bit too high. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't do it that way. So just keep that in mind. Whatever it is you want to achieve in life, don't throw out goals flippantly. Really process what it's going to take, and then make sure you commit to yourself that you're willing to pay that price on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not, that's okay. Just pick a different objective. That's what it is. It's actually a good example, a good movie to watch to really understand what I'm saying here is there's a movie called Dorian Gray. Dorian Gray. I don't know if you guys know the story of Dorian Gray. It's an ancient legend of a guy who basically he wanted to be young forever. He wanted to be young and he wanted to have all the women. So basically he ended up making a deal with the devil where basically he would stay young and handsome and have all the ladies. But what happened was his soul got transplanted into a painting. So basically the older he got and the more debaucherous stuff that he did, the more the painting would show the effects of his age and the deterioration of his soul. And so by the end of the movie, Dorian is 100 and something years old, but he still looks like a hot young 20 something year old. He's done all kinds of ratchet shit his whole life and killed people and had sex with 50 women at one time and just done all kinds of crazy stuff. And so he's lived this life where he's carrying all this around. And they show the painting, and the painting is a reflection of his age and a reflection of the deterioration of his soul. And the painting is just disgusting. It's got maggots crawling out of it and blood coming out of the eyes and everything else, because what's happened is that his chase for this glory, that everybody sees. They see this young handsome man and all the women want to get with him. It's like the price is just incredibly high to the point where at the end he just wants to kill himself. He wants to give. So that, I think that's a great reflection on what it probably feels like maybe to be like a Michael Jordan type person, to have that level of success and wealth and power and achievement. The price is pretty damn high. So before you say you want it, you need to really ask yourself if that's something that you really want out of your life, because it's very difficult to do. So all in all, I'll summarize by saying, on net, in terms of when I weigh the good of Michael Jordan and the bad of Michael Jordan, I feel the good outweighs the bad in the sense that I admire him more than I despise him. I don't like a lot about what I've seen and what I've heard privately and publicly, but I have a tremendous amount of admiration for the fact that he had that focus and level of intensity that other people did not have. And I think that that's a great metaphor for life. So I encourage you all to watch the documentary and really process and internalize it so you can learn how to become the person that you want to be. All right, guys. So I got to go. I got a meeting. We actually have a program on goal achievement and goal setting, things like that, where I laid this out, the whole curriculum on this. It's called Black Keys to Greatness. So if you want to learn all my private little secrets on how to set goals and how to accomplish anything, go to blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. You can actually get in for the first month for $1, and then if you like it the first month, you can stay. If you don't, that's okay. You can go to it's blackkeystogreatness.com. So I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. Love you. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV.